So if you know me, you know I've never gotten along with my parents real well. That's because we have very big different views on life, but that's not a story for today. Anyways, I moved her into my parents' house because I put a deposit down at an apartment I was going to live at. The same apartment complex I initially was living when she told me to go live with her over a year and a half ago. Just a different apartment in the same complex. I moved her in and was like, it's fine. Wow, that was a big piece of lightning. My God. I'm conjuring the demons of exes everywhere. They're all arising and plotting. Can you feel that? Weird. Don't say your ex's name 3 times. They're gonna show up in your damn bathroom mirror. Anyways, girls, we buckle the fuck up because this is about to get real. This is where you're gonna hear about how the fuck shit unfolded and it was bad. It gets worse. Okay. So what had happened next was I moved her into my parents' house. My parents were not very fucking happy. But even when we were screaming at each other, they allowed it. I don't fucking know. It was probably toxic of me, but we didn't get along, my parents and I didn't have a very good support system. And all I knew was this crazy girl that I was with. And I didn't want to be unfair if she had cancer, and that was the whole reason that I didn't want to be with her, was because of the cancer symptom. So anyways, she comes and moves in, and I'm working still. But a little cold comes through, and she's like, my family wants me to go home and visit because they haven't seen me, and they're worried about me, and they want to see me since I got cancer. And I'm like, pop off, queen, I've got stuff to do here. So she goes home to visit family with her own vehicle, the one thing that she owned to her name, that her dad paid for. Anyway, she goes home with family. She had a little cold, though, and she wasn't doing so hot, but who the hell am I to tell a grown-ass person what the hell they can and can't do? So she goes home, and she had a cold, blah, 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 blah. Wasn't doing super great all week, had a gnarly cough. We told her, including my parents, like, hey, that cough sounds like shit. You need to go get checked out because he's got the cancers. And I believe this was after we started chemotherapy. Yeah, it definitely was. Some of this stuff blurs together for me because there was a lot of chaos and a lot of trauma all at once, and trauma can cause memory loss. I got short-term memory loss. Anyways, it's not even a day and a half before I get a call that she's like, I can't breathe, come rescue me. And I'm like, where the fuck's your family at, girl? Where is your family? And they had all gone out to eat and left her with these symptoms of not oxygenating well and a horrible cough and all of these problems. So I get my ass in the car as a responsible partner and I fly to Plano. I am zooming. And she, the whole time, is like, I can't breathe. I can't take a deep breath. I feel like I'm drowning. And I am doing my best to give medical advice while also navigating the traffic from Fort Worth to Plano, which is not an easy task. This was my first serious panic attack I had while driving, and somehow I navigated it well. I was looking at the side of the shoulder that I was driving on, like, if these symptoms don't let up right now, I'm gonna have to pull off this highway right here and go to this local hospital because I feel like I'm about to die from the pressure and stress that I'm under. But somehow I pull it together and I'm like, you've got to stop. You've got to calm your shit down because I need to calm down and get to you if you want me to help you. So you've got to knock it off. Let me get there. So I was a little stern, a little strict, but I was just trying to survive, girlies. I was trying to survive. I'm still young as fuck. So anyways, I get there and sure enough, girly pop is not looking so hot. So I'm like, let's get to the hospital. Let's get there. We get to the hospital and yeah, sure as shit, she's sicker than fuck. When you do chemo, you get neutropenic, excuse me, which is where your immune system tanks and your white blood cells and all that jazz, which is what protects you and fights off common colds, illnesses, viruses. So she basically has the immune system of a newborn and it's fucking terrible. And she waited a really long time to go get treated for this cough. I want to say like a week and a half or 2. So things are not going well. I bring all my work stuff to the hospital to set up because her family is kind of going in and out and breaking all of the rules, by the way. When you're a cancer patient, neutropenic, you get put in an air room that has like positive air pressure. Basically, it keeps the germs out and kind of keeps the room a little bit more sanitary, I guess. It's like a positive high flow room. I can't remember the exact terminology. It's been a long time, guys. This was over 10 years ago. But yeah, you're supposed to like go in, put on a mask to be in this room because spit and saliva has bacterium. And the family's just coming in, bringing in balloons, chopping it up, bringing in flowers. Literally everything it says on the door not to bring in rooms like this, they're bringing it all in. And I'm like, do you understand the serious repercussions that could happen by doing that? And I'm like kind of playing devil's advocate, like, hey, like, you shouldn't be doing this. You shouldn't be kissing her on the face. Don't share chapstick with her. Like, you could kill her with a common cold. But they're still doing whatever the fuck. And then eventually they go home, and as usual, at night, it's just us. And I think this was like a few days into the hospital stay. Suddenly, homegirl needs to go pee, and while she's on the toilet, she forgets who the fuck she is. This is something we call a change in mental status. She starts ripping her IVs out. She looks very confused. She doesn't know who the fuck I am. She doesn't know who the fuck she is. She starts asking why she's there, what the hell's going on, and who I am. And I'm like, ah, damn, this is not good. And blood is just spurting with her heartbeat to, like, out of her arm now that she's pulled her IV out. So I grab some toilet paper, I hold pressure, and I'm, like, grabbing the bed phone to the nurse, and I'm like, hi, I think her oxygen's dropped because she no longer knows who she is. And I'm fighting with her to keep pressure on this IV site, so if you could come in and help, that would be wonderful. Sure as shit, they get in there, and she is sitting super duper low after all these visits from friends and family who didn't want to wash their hands and do what they were fucking supposed to. So they end up rushing her to the ICU. We get to the ICU around 2 a.m. They put me in the ICU waiting room. I call all the family. Everyone's asleep. No one's answering. They're not allowing anyone to go in with her as I get set up in the ICU because she's now critically ill. She was really sick before, but this was the turning point where she became, like, life-threatening. I begged and begged to go back, told them I had medical experience, told them I wouldn't get in the way, just wanted to observe, and they said no. Because I felt like she was going to be scared alone. I advocated to be with her, and I was told no, because she asked me not to leave her alone. They told me they had got her settled, and that the soonest I could come and visit her was like 5 or 6 a.m., so I just went ahead and drove my little happy ass back to Fort Worth to sleep for 2 hours and come back. Before I had even fallen asleep, I get a phone call that she is intubated. She is no longer awake and alert. She has been put in a medically induced coma because her vitals got too out of control and her body was going to crash if they continued to allow her to breathe that hard. Of course, I didn't get a wink of fucking sleep. That was super stressful, probably one of the worst phone calls I had ever gotten. And I know you're asking yourself, why would you get that call and not her family? I was engaged to her and her wife on paperwork. Like her next of kin, she put me down as engaged to. So all of the calls from the hospital came to me. As well as when she was going through chemo, she was worried that her family wasn't going to take care of her. So she had some power of attorney paperwork done to ensure that I was her power of attorney. And I was. As her power of attorney, when we sat down and discussed this, I promised I would always consult other medical professionals that I had known in all the hospitals I had worked that were comparable to give me the best advice. And that's what I did. I kept my promise. But anyways, I wait until it's time to go up there again, and I start driving, I think at 4 in the morning, 5 in the morning to go back up there and be with her. Because I know if I were intubated, the last thing I'd want to be is alone. And even when you're under, you can still hear your friends and family. And it is, for the most part, calming to most people. Sometimes it can be arousing in the way that you try to wake yourself up out of sedation. And it can cause you to fight the sedation. But when I was there, I made sure to be very quiet, soft, talk softly like this. Keep the TV low. And not disturb anything and walk quietly and do everything slowly and quietly. If I were going to hold her hand, I would slowly grasp it, slowly stroke her hand, because that's what you want to do with someone who is now in critical condition and fighting for their life. You don't want to excite them and cause them to exert more energy that they're using to fight whatever illness they have off in trying to be present with you. Eventually, the family starts to trickle in, and they are loud, obnoxious, and crazy. They don't respect the ICU rules, and they really aren't grasping how serious this is. She has a breathing tube that is breathing at this point for her. I asked the nurse specifically, was she scared when she went under, and they said she was terrified, and that made me feel horrible. And I knew from that point on, if it were me in that position, with the support she had, I would want somebody to sit there and comfort me and hold my hand and tell me everything was going to be okay, no matter what the doctor said and no matter what actually was happening. And that's what I did. Every day for the maximum amount of hours, which they started to allow me to stay afterwards, I was still retained my EMT certificate, and I was working as a patient tech basically in my other hospital. I had just recently gotten the new job, and so I still retained my EMT status. So because they were so short-staffed in that ICU, they allowed me to stay after hours and do simple things like shift her in the bed, suction her mouth, call them if she ran out of propofol, etc. So I became kind of helpful to the nurses in a sense that I was not one of those annoying family members that didn't understand what was going on. I wasn't causing her any pain or distress or extra work. And I did understand the severity of it and was doing everything I could to be proactive and help keep her comfortable so the nurses could focus on their other patients instead of constantly doing the little things with her. Next part coming soon.